You finally have a free afternoon, but you can't enjoy it. You feel a creeping anxiety that you should be doing something useful. Why have we learned to equate stillness with failure? This feeling, this creeping anxiety, it is not a gentle reminder. It is a theft. It steals the open, quiet space of your leisure and floods it with a low-grade, constant hum of guilt. You are sitting on your sofa with a book. The house is quiet. This is the moment you claimed to want all week. But your mind is not quiet. Your mind is flicking through an invisible to-do list. The inbox, the laundry, that side project, the gym. I should be networking. I should be learning a skill. I should be optimizing. The book in your lap feels indulgent. The silence feels wasteful. You are not resting. You are simply not working. And your brain has been trained to interpret this absence of labor as a failure. This is the internal monologue of people who need productivity guilt to relax. You are a person who cannot be still without justification. Perhaps you've even developed a system to manage this. You earn your rest. You tell yourself, I will work without stopping for 4 hours, then I will be allowed to watch a movie. You use productivity as a currency to purchase your own peace of mind. But the peace never fully arrives. Because even in that earned moment of rest, the anxiety lingers. You are simply on a brief, approved furlough from the factory. The guilt is always there, waiting at the gate, tapping its watch. If this is you, you are not a workaholic. That term is too simple. This is a deeper, more philosophical condition. You are a person whose very sense of self-worth has become fused with your output. Your internal script, the one that defines your value, has been written by an invisible, relentless master. The demand to be useful. This is not a personal flaw. You are not bad at relaxing. You are, in fact, a victim of your own competence. You are likely an intelligent, ambitious, and capable person. You are good at doing. And you have been rewarded your entire life for this ability. The digital applause, the paycheck, the praise, all of it has reinforced one singular message. Your worth is what you produce. And so, when you are not producing, when you are just being, your brain sounds an alarm. It registers this non-doing as a threat, a drop in value, a failure, a void. That creeping anxiety, that is the sound of the alarm. That is the feeling of stillness being mistaken for failure. This anxiety, this productivity guilt, is not a personal error. It is a precision-engineered, learned response. It is the sound of a much deeper operating system running in the background of your mind. Let's call this system internalized capitalism. This is not an economic theory. This is an emotional state. It is the translation of a market-based value system into a personal one. It is the quiet, foundational belief that you are a product. You are a startup. You are a personal brand. Your life is a portfolio, and the one unforgivable sin is a lack of growth. In this system, your worth is not inherent. It is not a given. Your worth is your output. Your value is your utility. You are not a human being. You are a human doing. This internal script runs on a single, ruthless directive. Let's call it the performance principle. The performance principle is the mechanism that takes this abstract economic idea and turns it into the very real, very sharp guilt you feel on a quiet afternoon. How does it work? First, the performance principle rewires your perception of time. In a healthy, human-centered world, time is a space. It is a river. It is the field in which life happens. You live in time. Under the performance principle, time is no longer a space. It is a resource. It is a commodity. It is a series of 24 one-hour blocks on a ledger. And in this system, any block that is not filled with useful, measurable, or productive activity is classified as a loss. It is waste. It is a deficit. So, when you are sitting on that sofa, doing nothing but being, your internal operating system is not processing rest. It is flagging a critical error. Potential value lost. Resource wasted. The anxiety you feel is not anxiety. It is a financial report. It is your internal auditor screaming at you about a dip in your stock price. Second, the performance principle rewires an identity. A self is no longer a core you possess, a complex internal world of thoughts, feelings, and useless dreams. Instead, your self becomes a summary of your achievements. Your identity is your resume. Your identity is your social media grid. Your identity is the list of skills you are acquiring. Who are you is no longer answered by I am. It is answered by I do. When you combine these two ideas, that time is a resource to be spent and your identity is what you produce, your guilt is not just understandable. It is logical. It is the only logical conclusion of this internal script. Stillness is not just stillness. It is an identity crisis. To be unproductive is to cease to exist. It is to fail at the very performance of being you. This leads to the central paradox, the core of this entire analysis. The productivity guilt you feel is no longer just the problem. It has become your solution. You cannot just rest. That is too terrifying. That is a direct confrontation with the void, the failure state of your internal programming. So, your brilliant, analytical mind creates a loophole. It creates a system of permission. You tell yourself, I do not deserve to rest until I have answered 40 emails, run 3 miles, and cleaned the entire house. You use your productivity as a currency. You use the doing to buy the being. The guilt is the engine that forces you to earn your own peace. Rest is no longer a human right. It is a bonus, unlocked only after you have met your brutal, self-imposed performance quota. You are your own relentless, unforgiving boss. You are the factory owner, and you are also the one chained to the assembly line. But what happens when you do earn that hour of rest? What happens when you finally, justifiably sit down? The performance principle does not just clock out. It is an insidious manager. It follows you into your leisure. This is perhaps the most devastating cost: the optimization of rest. If time is always a resource, then rest time must also have a return on investment. You cannot just do nothing. That is still wasteful. So your leisure becomes a new kind of work. Your leisure must be productive. You don't just read. You read 10 books to make you a better leader. You don't just watch a show. You watch a highbrow documentary that makes you smarter. You don't just take a walk. You track your steps and optimize your cardio. You don't just sleep. You biohack your sleep with trackers and apps, turning the most natural human act into a data-driven performance. The performance principle has colonized your stillness. It has turned your potential refuge into just another office. This is why you are so tired. You are so profoundly emotionally fatigued, because you are never, ever off the clock. There is no after. There is no off. There is only work, and work that looks like rest. This is the high intellect trap. This is not for lazy people. This is a condition that preys on the ambitious, the conscientious, the capable. It preys on people like you. People who want to be good. People who want to be useful. And it takes that beautiful human desire and twists it into a relentless, impossible standard. A standard that ensures you will never, ever be enough. Because the goal of the system is not to be enough. The goal of the system is just to keep performing. If the goal of the system is to keep performing, the only way to win is to refuse. The solution is not to earn your rest more efficiently. The solution is not to find a better way to optimize your leisure. The solution is a radical act of rebellion. It is the act of reclaiming your right to be useless. This is the path. A quiet, profound, and total rejection of the performance principle. It is the choice to be still, without justification. It is the choice to sit on the sofa, and when the creeping anxiety comes, to to look at it, to name it. That is the echo of the factory. And to not obey it. It is to give yourself permission to exist for an hour without producing a single measurable unit of value. This act in our culture is the ultimate transgression. To be useless is to be free. This is the after. It is the moment you take a walk, not to hit your steps, but to feel the air. It is the moment you read a novel, not because it will make you smarter, but because the story is beautiful. It is the moment you do nothing, and you feel not the void of failure, but the presence of your own inherent and unconditional self. This is the true rebuilding of focus. It is not about focusing better on your work. It is about reclaiming your focus from your work and placing it gently back into your own life. It is the moment you realize that productivity guilt is a phantom. It is an alarm ringing in an empty building. You are no longer inside. You are finally outside, in the stillness. And you realize that this stillness is not a loss. It is not waste. It is everything. It is the space where your real identity lives. The one that is not a summary of your achievements. The one that is just you. This is the profound difference between performing and being. To perform is to live in a state of constant, anxious justification. To be is to know that your justification is that you are here. Your worth is not earned, it is a fact. The performance is over. This is our shared library of internal knowledge. The most valuable data is not what we achieve, but the moments we reclaim from the need to achieve. To help build this analysis, I invite you to share in the comments, what is one moment you reclaimed from this guilt? What is one useless thing you did, not for growth, not for optimization, but purely for the sake of being?